like magic, and that transition golden from our producer behind the scenes. Welcome, everybody. How are we all feeling? I hope we're good, because I'm going to be asking you some hard-hitting questions. And the first one's going to go to, well, Ed, you're next to me, so I'm going to go that way to Ed. So why did you bring this deck this week?
So one of the things for me is the Super League, as it was called before, now MTGO Masters, was kind of a bucket list item I wanted to do for a long time that I kind of imagined would never happen at one point. And one of the elements that I liked about it was kind of the creativity and the short form of it. That you get to bring different strategies, something a little bit more exotic. So I chose this deck literally because it's a breakout deck. I mean, it features the card breakout. And the idea is that I kind of saw this. I'll be honest, I was between this and a Death Shadow deck, like a Sultai one. And Sultai would have been a better call had I thought about the metagame. But I brought this deck from my philosophy for the decks in this tournament are kind of like competitive with a flourish. So they're decks that I believe have good competitive chops in Modern, but they're not necessarily the ones that people are ready for the most or are thinking about the most aggressively, and kind of like mixing that competitivity with a little bit of, the entertainment side, exploring, because I know a lot of people with Modern sometimes think the format can be stale. This is not the case with current Modern, and like strategy like this, Breakout just came out, was included in a deck like this, and transformed Asmo Food from a deck that I thought was actually quite terrible to something that I think is quite good. Not necessarily, it won't look, I think, good this week based on the matchups, but I think this is a reasonably interesting contender.
You're my hero. You bought Tarmogoyf. You know what I mean? That's like bringing a knife to a gunfight here. I've got a lot of respect for that. So it's going to be pretty cool in that. Next up, I'm going to go to you, Arya. We need to know, this isn't your traditional Amulet Titaness. This has got some spice going on in there. I need to know how it works. The other players need to know how it works. Everybody at home needs to know how it works. Tell me why you bought this and how it works.
So I've been in recovery from surgery the last few weeks, which means I've been sitting around with a lot of time with not very much to do. So I figured I wanted to bring a brew of some sort to this week. So this is Aftermath Analyst Amulet Titan. So the way it works is it's kind of like normal Amulet Titan. It can do all the Amulet things, but it's also got a combo finish, like a straight up infinite combo finish that can go over the top of other decks. Like one thing Amulet decks have struggled with a little is you're looking at these Atraxa, Goryo's Vengeance decks, you're looking at these decks with one rung, you're looking at these decks that can just draw like a whole pile of cards, and it's very easy for Amulet to beat something like one Solitude, but it gets a little harder for the deck to beat something like 3 or 4 Solitudes with Ephemerates, and this deck does that. And the way it does that is by going infinite with Aftermath Analyst, Lotus Fields, and Port of Carfell. So the way it works is you activate Analyst, you return all those lands to the battlefield with Amulet to figure out, float a bunch of mana, activate Port of Carfell, get Aftermath Analyst back, and you keep looping those two to generate infinite mana. Eventually, you're going to find the Echoing Deeps in Mirror Pool in your deck, and you get to make infinite copies of Aftermath Analyst or another creature if you want to. And then you get infinite triggers with Slayer Stronghold and Sunhome, so you can make all your creatures infinitely large and double striking too if you want to, and hasty. So once you assemble that combo of Aftermath Analyst, two Lotus Fields, and Port of Carfell, the deck is impossible to stop by removal, and that's what really drew me to this, was the idea of an Amulet Titan deck where I have a finish that removal can't stop.
I think you've captured, MTGO Masters in a nutshell there. You've got this spin on a different deck. I still have no idea what you're doing, even though you've just literally told me. I imagine Brad's there with his pen and paper trying to write down exactly what he needs to be doing to try and counter that, which means I'm going to come across to you next, Brad. Obviously, you have bought a very well-established deck. People know it. People have seen it. People have seen it take down Pro Tours in the hands of some of our other players. Why did you bring Evoke this week?
That is true. I did bring a completely new strategy to the table for the MTGO Masters this week. I decided to combo with Grief and ways to bring it back when it evokes. What this allows me to do is keep a 4/3 creature in play, thanks to the abilities from Undying Evil and Not Dead After All, while also taking 2 cards away from my opponent. I'm hoping that this strategy is able to take lots of big Tron cards away from my opponents and also clear the way for my Blood Moons and Magus of the Moon.
I feel like you've built a deck and you're trying to target one fellow member today. So I'm going to move straight across to Cedric. I told you this. Look, I feel like you're the bad guy this week. I don't want you to be the bad guy. I want you to be the good guy every week. But you have brought Tron this week, good sir. Why are we bringing that this week? Why are we using your one Tron bullet, so to speak, in MTGO Masters today?
Well, I was informed that I'm not allowed to play the same deck twice, which is unfortunate. Yep. So I couldn't play Amulet Titan again, which means I probably wasted it in week 1. But I'm here now in the winners bracket, so maybe not. I don't know. I wanted to play another big mana deck, and this is another one, and it's performing relatively well right now in Modern. So, yeah, here it is. Much like Brad, I decided to do some real innovations. Decided I wanted to try to put together 7 mana on turn 3, which no one else has ever really done before, and then see what happens from there. So, yeah, I'm not thrilled about having to play against Grief and Thoughtseize and Ragavan, but, you know, that's how it goes sometimes. Maybe I'll just get extra lucky.
Maybe you will get extra lucky, but that's it's a pretty stock list. We see it. It's it might just work. It does. Tron does Tron things, right? Just get 7 mana, turn 3, top deck 2, win the game. Easy street. Find yourself into that top 8 in no time. So my next question for the group is, I want to know. Now we know the deck lists. They are live. Remember, on Moxhood, you can go check all the deck lists out there. Now we know what each other is on. Which deck do you not want to play tonight? If you could dodge one of the other 3 players, who do you want to dodge? Ed, starting with you.
So I don't know who I'm facing in the last chance pod yet, so I can't answer this question at all. Good faith.
Okay, confidence. That's why I like confidence. You've always been a confident man around me. Ayush, who do you not want to be playing against tonight?
I would like to not play against a deck with all those Magus of the Moons and Blood Moons, please, if possible. So, Cedric, if you could defeat Brad in the first round, then I could face you in the finals. That'd be ideal.
I'm gonna. I feel like I already know your answer, but I'm gonna go to you, Cedric. Who do you not want to be playing against?
Everyone here. I don't think
it's not gonna go.
Don't think my deck choice is good at all. So cool.
I've heard you say that before and still win tournaments. It's all good. And then Brad, looks like a lot of people don't want to play against you tonight. I don't think it's you. I don't think it's another person. I think it's your deck choice tonight. But who do you think you've got a bad matchup against? Or do you think, no, they're right to fear you?
I can't speak to whether Eduardo's deck is bad for me or not, but it looks confusing enough that I don't want to play against it. It seems like too much work to think through all those possible lines.
Ed's deck's the one you've got. You're confused about. I still don't know what Arya's deck does. It's gonna be crazy, but I imagine Blood's pretty good.
That's fine. The moment that the combo happens, you don't have to know how it works. You just know you're dead.
That's true.
You just press F6.
Yeah, you can't play around lands.
Okay, look, I love the answers. I got it. Cool. On that one, we're gonna start setting up. We're gonna get some matches going, so all you beautiful people at home can see these 4 decks in action. So thank you very much, everybody. We'll speak to you shortly. We're going to move back to me and Ed in the booth.